Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Now Loading Esports. We're back with some more collegiate Overwatch action following Kutztown University's Team 1. My name is Kanor. I'm joined with my co-host here, Austin. Austin, we got another week of Overwatch. What are you looking forward to? How you doing tonight?
That indeed we do. Another week of Overwatch indeed. We've got Kutztown University, and it looks like the team that they're going to be up against tonight is Avalon. I'm not sure if that's the official team name, but looks like they found themselves a nice little scrimmage here for tonight.
Yeah, the 8 to 10 p.m. scrim block is a staple in collegiate Overwatch and competitive Overwatch. I, for a long time, worked on a 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. scrim block time, which is far less, but I'm glad that there are, I mean, so far this season, honestly, and this isn't me just being a caster, this is me being an experienced Kutztown Overwatch member, some of the best scrims that I've seen. Very close games, very, very learnable experiences from these games. And tonight against Avalon, I hope that they get the same. Um, so, one roster switch from last week, you'll see the legendary PK Factor is no longer on the team tonight. PK is taking a academic hiatus to focus on his mathematician work, which we greatly respect. We're getting into the real grime of the semester now, so I'm sure you're in deep right now, Austin.
Definitely, yeah. It can definitely wear you down after a while. So
Right, so we have one of Kutztown's AAA team, their team 2 here, Oko Bros, um, or now just known as Oko, will be stepping in for the PK Factor. I believe, though, that he is a main tank familiar player. So I'm curious to see what they've done with Sponty, who looks like will be playing on an alt account today. Um, probably the alt account being Whittle Kitten, which I will not be saying all night. I'll probably stick to Sponty. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I'm interested to see because Sponty I know has been doing very, very well on the main tank role. The Winston has been spot on. They're gonna have to switch it up, right?
It looks like Kutztown is going to have some contention here tonight, Connor, because I don't know if you saw, but it looks like we have Jeff Kaplan on the other team.
Wow, Jeff Kaplan on the Symmetra here for Team Avalon. It's
That's
an
huge.
honor. I did meet the man once at World Grand Finals 2020 or 2019, I believe, right before the year before the pandemic. Yeah, so 2019. I was driving to the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, and we pulled in, and we were about to find parking, and we were driving across the front of the Wells Fargo Center, and someone in the car, Litlow actually, who's playing Baptiste right now for Kutztown, he said, "Connor, it's Jeff," and I went, "Okay, yeah, good one." And then I looked to my left out my window, and there is Jeff Kaplan with his security team and a
Just
massive
standing there.
beard. Yeah, in the flesh. So um, we parked as quick as we could. Believe me, like we got out there as quickly as we could.
And he told you he was a Symmetra main, I'm assuming?
Well, I mean, with what we're seeing tonight, yeah, I believe the only thing we really know about Jeff is that he likes Diva and he was in Plat. Um, Looks like the teams are pretty much both ready to go. I love, we've got Charlotte again on Kutztown playing the Echo. We saw a lot of good Echo play last week. Um, Very advanced character, but a very oppressive character. Now, Austin, what are you looking for tonight from Charlotte on that Echo?
Well, they've been doing a pretty great job with some of their other Echo plays. We saw them make quite a couple of interesting plays last week at the last scrimmage. They did some nice duplication gimmicks. They duplicated the Pharah, I believe, and they also duplicated the Mei. They got that pretty clutch headshot with that Mei duplication. So hopefully some more of that.
We did also that a couple of Wrecking Ball copies. The duplicate with the Wrecking Ball I saw Charlotte likes to favor, especially with the dive composition. I mean, I love that idea, right? Because you instantly get, 400 extra health. And if you're in the air already as Echo, you have the opportunity to use that slam right away, right? So you copy the Wrecking Ball. We saw Charlotte copy the Wrecking Ball, swing right up, land after using a mines, and I think that managed to, yield a couple of kills on Route 66. Looking to see what duplicates we get from Charlotte tonight.
Yeah, it looks like we have Zasper on Team Avalon running the Echo as well. We've got 2 Symmetras, 2 Echoes, and 2 Baptistes.
Yeah, we've got a mirror between the DPS and the supports right now. We've got that Lucio Bap. We've got that Symmetra Echo, which I'm guessing we'll lose the Symmetra on both sides early. Having Echo doesn't really make sense with the Symmetra. You don't need to teleport that character, right? One of the most mobile characters in the game. We'll probably switch off that Symmetra on both teams to something more dive or brawl based.
Alright, it looks like we're about to get into it, and the teams are coming out of their spawn points.
And I eat my words immediately. Both teams keeping that Symmetra, both Echoes mirroring their idea there. A lot of damage and absolute madness on the point.
Yeah, that was just jumped right on the gun, if you will, and Team Avalon gets an early grasp of the point here. The control point hasn't unlocked yet, but they have been able to kind of secure their real estate, if you will. They're going to be able to capture this in a second here.
Bit of an early blunder there from Charlotte. If Charlotte were alive there on that Echo, after getting that pick onto HR here, would have probably netted Kutztown some space at a minimum, but now they don't have that. Zasper doing a lot of damage to Oko on that main tank. Reinhardt just getting melted down really early.
Oh, big pick for Kutztown though, getting the Baptiste down, Ebby.
Right.
And Reinhardt going down as well.
Yeah, Kutztown getting rid of that Baptiste, that main heal means that Avalon here has to play a quicker game or they have to back off, and now Kutztown from a range can just slowly pick them off as they don't have that healing that they need to stay in the fight.
Yeah, our Lord and Savior Jeff tried to deploy the defensive matrix there, but unfortunately was not enough for salvation for Avalon.
Yeah, we saw, I mean, the tanks on both sides here do so much damage that last fight and the one prior that they both have pretty much their ultimates online here. Gonna see a teleport from Avalon onto the point. See how Kutztown responds. Oko Bros with a charge right onto Evie, taking him out before the fight even began.
Big self-destruct by Sponty there, managing to pick off the Reinhardt and the Baptiste there, I believe.
Just absolute ultimate madness right now. I mean, Earth Shatter's getting thrown everywhere, and Kutztown was so spread that team fight. I'm surprised that Avalon didn't take advantage of that and push one of the sides. They kind of got stuck in the middle, and Kutztown slowly takes the lead here on the point.
Yeah, I think Avalon made a couple of mistakes there that kind of allowed Kutztown to get out of that awkward situations. Like you said, they weren't in the best position, speaking in terms of the map and the point, but somehow they were able to kind of pull it back.
Oko Bros, absolute disaster at the beginning of that fight. Kutztown's able to make up for the mistake, but he went for a sneaky charge to try to catch someone coming out of that teleporter, and he managed to go right off the map with it. Unlucky, but Kutztown will pick up the weight. I mean, Oko Bros taking the main tank there. Position from Sponty, and Sponty looks like they've been practicing Sponty on the off tank now. So, I mean, all that Winston, I mean, maybe he'll switch when they're doing a Winston composition, but we'll have to see. One last fight here for Avalon. They're pushing in real quick.
Yeah, and they're going absolutely crazy with all of their ultimates. Defense Matrix, You got the Immortality Field. Absolute madness right now going on with this team fight. Big Rick coming out with the high noon. Manages to get 2 picks off of that. Jeff Kaplan falls to something else in that whole kerfuffle. And that's the game.
Wow, yeah, I mean, we saw a pretty good first team fight win from Avalon, but they were unable to get their feet back on the ground. After what would have been a very winnable extra 30% on the point that Kutztown stole from them with a great, efficient team fight. I mean, I can see a good scrim here tonight as long as Avalon can keep their morale high, even if they're losing. I mean, that map, honestly, after that first fight, could have gone in any direction. There is a statistic out there that says, you know, 70% of teams who grab the point first will win the map. And we've got an Echo highlight here for you. We saw basically 2 of the same players on Echo. I mean, Char here making Kutztown really fortified with 2 divas here for a couple seconds. Is going to come behind here.
She's about to get the self-destruct as well, right in the duplication. Absolutely massive damage. They have double self-destruct there.
Yeah, there was nowhere to go if you're on Team Avalon. I mean, Charlotte putting that self-destruct on the inside of the enemy backline means they have to come forward, right? And then you have Sponty here placing it on the other side saying, you can't come forward. So where do you where do you go? I guess the respawn room is the only place you
They're
can go.
between a rock and a hard place right there.
Right. I mean, I have to highlight that first team fight where Charlotte and Zasper both did the exact same thing with their Echo, right? They flew up right before the Symmetra teleporter came out, and they both sticky bombed the base of the exit at the same time. And then from there, it was just absolute madness, right? I mean, we're in collegiate. These guys are not pros, and so, you know, you're going to see a lot of scrappy fights. You're going to see a lot of drawn out, like long team fights that probably should have ended already. And most importantly, you're going to see some crazy ultimate usage.
It looks like we've got an exact mirror match right now, at least for the moment. We'll see if Big Rick and Zasper switch off from the Symmetra. But at least for this first portion of this map here, we've got a complete mirror match between the teams.
Yeah, I mean, these mirror matches mean that better team really does win, right? Better ultimate usage, better resource management from your supports, and Char with a great opening pick with a mind combo and a 2 of Avalon's backline.
2.
If Kutztown is smart, this will be an easy first team fight win. Bone Wheel pressing that W button, making sure his team's going really fast. I mean, Lucio with this composition is an absolute menace, right? You get your team quickly to the point, you get them to where they're going before the enemy team. It's so important with these DPS characters that you're seeing.
Yeah, and it looks like Kutztown has done a great job pushing Team Avalon back to their spawn point already. They're kind of having to fight that doorway passage right here instead of literally any other point, because Kutztown has kind of forced them into that interaction, if you will.
Yeah, this is a great forced interaction from Kutztown here. This is a very difficult choke point, and if I'm Avalon and I see a Junkrat Symmetra, I'm not even going to bother taking this doorway. And now Kutztown's going to punish them for even trying by pushing them so far into their spawn here. Big Rick gets a little bit greedy there after getting hit by that anti-nade from Inali, but Kutztown may be able to hold on here with a couple of safe retreats.
All right, Char coming in with a Riptire. Let's see how many players are going to get. Looks like they take down 3 players with that.
Yeah, HR Teen also losing the mech there is going to have to reset here. Means another couple seconds off the clock. I mean, Kutztown's really putting their foot down here at this door. Avalon has got to take that upper right door, and it looks like they're deciding to take it. They gotta, you know, they don't have that Lucio anymore, so these rotates are going to be a little bit slower, and you see Kutztown just meets them. Now they've recreated the same situation.
I mean, Team Avalon, if they play their cards right, they could make something happen here. They've got 5 ultimates on the ready. If they plan their strategy out, they could come out and maybe take some real estate on the point here.
Looks like they may have kind of tricked Kutztown into backing up a little bit. And there goes Oko Bros with the with the charge in. We've seen him do so much tonight. 2 ultimates trading, taking a tank and a support, and now the fight is even. HR Team and Colossus, the only 2 people barely get to the point in time.
Did you see that little interaction between Zasper and Sponty?
Yeah, yeah.
Zasper was in the middle of his high noon, and Sponty just said, "I'm behind you. I've got my defense matrix up. There's nothing you can do. You're dead."
I mean, that's good. That's great diva play right there from Sponty. You know, putting that defense matrix behind the player. It's hard to tell sometimes. So, I mean, Kutztown putting their foot down. I mean, not to rhyme on purpose there, but we've got a bit of a highlight here from the previous round where these teams get ready for the 3rd map. Riptire again. I mean, Charlotte just showing some skill in these characters, getting right behind that doorway and catching 2. That's a free team fight right there. So, I mean, we've seen Sponty on the off tank, we've seen Oko Bros on the main tank. Like, what's the real difference here from the PK Factor Sponty tank lineup so far?
I'm surprised Sponty has been going to the off-tank role, you know. He was just so dominant on the old composition with that Reinhardt, you know. Some absolutely disastrous earth shatters for the opposing team. Big damage coming through. But, you know, it seems like he's really been practicing this off-tank role in light of PK Factor taking a break here.
Yeah, we saw incredibly aggressive. I mean, Sponty maybe bringing Oko to the Reinhardt school of Sponty with the aggression that we saw on the first map. I mean, I saw so many charges, and on the second map too. I mean, just charging right into the enemy team, complete disregard for cooldowns, complete disregard for his own health and safety. He just wants to frag. And it's working so far for them. You know, Avalon's got to pick up some pieces here. Honestly, Kutztown is playing a little bit messy, and there are some players that are pretty far out of position. And, I mean, Avalon's got to find those picks if they want to get somewhere against Kutztown here.
Well, they do have almighty Jeff Kaplan here on the Pharah here on this map. I do enjoy that character on this map. I feel like it can get a lot of utility with that splash damage and all of the places that they can knock other players off, right, with that disruption mine.
Yeah, Bonewheel finding an early finishing blow with that that boop onto Zasper. Ebby is playing this Ana's just right in the middle of the action. I mean, keep an eye on Ebby as there's really no one to babysit him on that Ana. Kutztown's got to see just a delicious target, and they do.
Yeah, but amazingly, they've got their ultimate already charged. They did so much healing and damage in that previous interaction there that their ultimate's already charged.
Yeah, we got HR Team losing his mech late there. He's going to have to reset off the map. It's going to buy Kutztown a little bit more time. And Charlotte already with the EMP, looking to set up Big Rick for some free damage. The tanks of Kutztown are going to be jumping in here. You'll see Charlotte set up here as invisible. He's probably going to find a way over this bridge, looking for the right opportunity. And here it comes. Kutztown's going to come flying in now.
4-man EMP wave right there.
Wow, I mean, look at the kill feed right now. The fight is even right now. Even with that, Kutztown's even with Avalon right
Rick
now.
Coming in with the Death Blossom though, making that even fight no longer a reality.
Yeah, I mean, this Pharah is just not doing anything right now. I mean, even with ult here, and pretty decent damage stats, it's just not. We're not getting the follow-up that you need for a Pharah. So, I mean, while Jeff Kaplan may be playing a good Pharah, he just needs his teammates to follow up more.
It's a shame that he's no longer on the design team because, you know, if that were the case, maybe he could give that character a quick buff or something. Who knows?
Oh wow! We saw a couple of hack targets fall off the map there. Jeff Kaplan on the far with a high up barrage here. The res from Inali is going to be big here for Avalon as it gives them the numbers.
Big target there with Colossus on the Winston there. Having that bubble shield available, having the monkey leap, and of course that annoying shotgun is always an issue to contend with on that character.
Yeah, Kutztown, Bonewheel just barely getting in through the window. He's been on the Lucio rollout subreddit, I can tell. Getting there just in time to guarantee Kutztown has a 99% on the point. Avalon with some life in them now, have a couple of ultimates they can use, a couple of quick, finish your ultimates. If Zasper can find an early pick here, this is going to be big for Avalon. It means more time off the clock for Kutztown. It means more ult percentage for Avalon. So here's Zasper on the bridge, looking for something around the left side. We have Colossus keeping an eye on the point, and Char gets slept in the back line. Fine Ana, alone Ana, and Kutztown's going to try to flip the point underneath Avalon's nose. Monty eating that pulse bomb at the beginning of that fight. I mean, Kutztown has a chance here, even though they lost Charlotte early. Kutztown probably just be smart to back off now that we're losing a couple players here. And there's the reset. Avalon with a little bit more time.
Yeah, and they've got almost three ultimates up on the board. HR-Teen is about to come off with the self-destruct here. Colossus with the rage mode.
Yeah,
and they've got the Mercy ultimate on lock right now.
Keep an eye on Big Rick here. I'm suspecting he's gonna come with the team. He's gonna play and try to shoot the tanks for a little while, and then he's gonna start spinning. He's gonna press that Beyblade button, and he's gonna try to deal as much damage as he can to these smaller characters. Taking out Colossus pretty early, but Bonewheel falling to the concussion blast of Jeff Kaplan. It's even now.
Big self-destruction from HR-Teen here. Doesn't find many targets there, and here comes the Death Blossom from Big Rick.
I mean, this is such a scrappy fight. Kutztown and Avalon have even players now. Kutztown just barely getting an advantage here, and now it looks like Charlotte's going to close it out by cutting Jeff Kaplan's wings with that EMP. And Kutztown takes our first Scrim map 3-0. We saw some big Reaper gameplay, a lot of damage from Big Rick here. We're going to take a look back at a little bit of his ultimate usage here on Li Zhang. Cutting right through the back line with that Death Blossom, forcing the enemies to make a mistake, right? And then this great teleport to stay alive and
that
stay
timing,
with the team.
man. That is not easy to land. That teleport is not as fast as you would think.
Yeah, you got to have a quick trigger finger for that. And, old Reaper would have died there, right? You used to have to stay on the ground in order to teleport. And now, post-patch Reaper, I mean, that's been out for probably 2 years now. It's been able to save themselves from situations like that. But, great ultimate usage there. Kutztown's really kind of picking it up. I mean, we're still having very, very scrappy team fights. And by scrappy, I mean, there's little individual fights happening in multiple places. As you get higher up and higher up in the skill range in Overwatch, you'll see less of those little individual fights and more, coagulated team fights. But it makes for great viewing, it makes for great viewing because the fights are crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it can certainly be a lot of fun to see those quote-unquote scrappy interactions,
Right. Moving over to Hollywood here, Avalon deciding to switch out Ebby for Lilac on that support role. Ebby was left alone a lot on Lijiang Gardens, which was that last map we just saw. On that Ana was left alone. And with Dive, I mean, Ana's nice, but you'd like to have someone who can maybe help babysit the Ana if you're playing against Dive, which they were. And we saw Kutztown take advantage of, Ebby's positioning and force a lot of his resources out of him early. That biotic grenade and that sleep dart. Notably, Charlotte finding that sleep dart after trying to flank and take down Ebby. but didn't work out for Charlotte, unfortunately.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was a little bit surprised that they only had really one support player essentially from Team Avalon with that Ana. Um, she's a great healer, don't get me wrong, but yeah, like you said, she can struggle if she's like by herself.
Yeah, a bit of a sitting duck against a dive set of characters. I mean, isn't the worst, right? If it was a Zenyatta, right, you have very little mobility then. You have the same amount of mobility, but less sustainability, less survivability. Let's talk about Kutztown's defensive composition here, Austin. Give me the lowdown.
I think we're gonna see the classic wombo combo, if you will, with the Orisa bubble shield and the Torbjorn turret. We've seen Kutztown run this kind of composition before, where they're essentially just gonna put out that bubble shield and let the auto turret do its thing. Try to get a good position for that turret to get some extra damage, some extra positioning. It's basically like almost like having an extra player in these team fights at times.
Good to be back.
Yeah, I do really like this composition, right? If you break it into groups of 3 here, we've got 3 very good anti-dive characters in that Orisa, in that Brigitte, and in the Torbjorn. And then we've got 3 longer range characters who can deal with double shield, maybe a more bunker comp in the Sigma and the Ashe and the Baptiste. I mean, this is actually a really well crafted and theorized composition here. The only thing that this struggles against is a lot of long range damage. Because Sigma's shield is only 700 health now, it's no longer, you know, your 1200 health. It's gonna take, you know, only 1 or 2 long-range projectile characters, and it looks like we may have that in Zasper and Jeff
we got
Kaplan.
Zasper on the Mei and Jeff Kaplan on the Echo. Definitely able to put out that longer range damage.
Yeah, Kutztown's job right now is to deal as much damage to these tank shield as they can before they get in. They want to deal as much damage to these players behind those shields so that they can stop them from pushing as quickly as they are right now, and this is a scary push.
Oh, big Mei wall from Zasper there, blocking off a point of damage from Kutztown to contest that point. Really clever play right there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'll give Zasper a lot of credit. Even though Kutztown is winning this fight here, that wall was a great idea, right? Blocking Kutztown's exit off. That was their big way out. If you push up those stairs, where else are they gonna go, right? So, I mean, that was a great first team fight for Kutztown. I mean, look at it. It was decently long. We got a minute off the clock already. That's a really great situation for Kutztown to be put in early here. Jeff Kaplan, there's that long-range projectile character I was talking about on the far. Is gonna try to boop a couple of Kutztown's players off, and they're gonna speed into them. Ready? Here we go. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah,
Jeff
here
Kaplan's,
they go.
Yep. They're gonna rotate around.
They're about to start.
Jeff Kaplan's gonna get right in the air here, and he's gonna boop some players off, and they're gonna try to push right into him.
Yeah, here it goes. Here comes the Mei wall to seal off the exit.
Oh, that turret's just keeping Jeff Kaplan at bay for long enough, and a headshot onto a falling Pharaoh from Charlotte is bad news for Avalon.
Ooh, yeah, Colossus tried to get something going there with that Earth Shatter there, but he wasn't able to get much off of it.
Yeah, I'm honestly very impressed personally with this composition pick from Kutztown. I mean, other than goats, there's not much that can crack this. And we don't live in that era anymore. I mean, the turret placement from Charlotte preventing that rotating Pharaoh from getting a lot of damage. We saw Jeff Kaplan try to take a higher position behind the point with that Pharaoh, and the turret was just keeping him at bay for long enough to where, you know, that point of value is gone for that Pharaoh. They're going to try from a different angle here. There goes the boop. It looks like it didn't work out. Kutztown looks like they're actually playing pretty safe against this boop.
Yeah, maybe Jeff Kaplan here trying to get some damage on that turret and on those shields to potentially get some more ultimate charge.
Yeah, I mean, this fight right now was just who can press Q earlier. And Kutztown, you know, part of their coaching is, you know, we want to set the pace, right? We want to make decisions before they make decisions, and you know, they ended up using 3 of their ultimates there, but you know what? That's another 30 seconds off the clock. So
And on top of that, they still have 2 ready to go. Bone Whale with the rally and Oko with the damage matrix.
that was a lot of damage on a Kutztown there from HR team. Got probably 5 in that ultimate, and now the utility pieces of Kutztown are falling. They don't have a lot of cooldowns now. I'm expecting if they can stay together, Avalanche should win this fight.
Rallying point just for that extra health and shielding.
Yeah, and here it goes. I mean, that was a great way to play against it. Kutztown's slowly starting to lose here, but it's still anybody's fight here. Litlow and Bone Wheel getting one.
But gets shot down.
Oh no! Kutztown gets off the point for just long enough. And now look, HR Teen has that forward spawn immediately. And he's there to help his team. I mean, that's how you have to play against that comp. You need those long-range projectile characters. We've got the Hanzo now from Jeff Kaplan. And what you do is you have to draw their cooldowns out, right? We saw Brigitte use her bash. We saw Litlow have to use that immortality field on Baptiste. And after those abilities come out is when you really press W. And it worked out for them.
Team Avalon looking to push this upper angle here on the second point of Hollywood.
A bit of a overzealous Reinhardt shatter there from Colossus. I mean, he had the right idea, trying to take that Sigma out of the team fight early, but he just ended up falling off. And now Char is just a menace with these Cheetos flying towards you from a small Swedish man. I mean, that's horrifying. Taking out Jeff Kaplan early. Avalon with a bit of a comeback here.
Big Rick coming out with the Bob.
Yeah, this is like a you know, a bit of an investment here for Kutztown, trying to use a big ultimate to take this fight back. Avalon is up a player right now on cart and will be about an even fight in about 10 seconds here when everyone comes back together.
Oh, we see the ultimate coming out from Sponty there, trying to get some people up in the air.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage. That turret was up for a little long. Kutztown's turret was up for maybe a little bit too long for the conditions of the support's cooldowns, but now, I mean, we see an incredibly scrappy fight. Oko trying to take a book out of Sponty's Primal Rage from last week. And it looks like it'll work out for him, booping HR Teen into his team. And I mean, Zasper's an incredible shot on this Mei.
Yeah, Zasper, as you mentioned, Zasper, he just got melted by Oko.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bad time to compliment him, but I am noticing. I mean, he's got some incredible aim on this Mei. I'm sure that the supports of Kutztown are a little bit scared to stand still in the back line because those icicles hurt.
Yeah, almost 5k damage on that character already. The only person outpacing them in terms of damage on Team Avalon is the Pharah and the Reinhardt.
Pushing the upper saloon here from the bank, speed boosting through. Molten Core is just going to cover the point, but it may have gotten better use up on top. And no one was there from Team Avalon to get on the cart. So we saw C9 from Kutztown on the first point, and we'll see another one from Team Avalon on the second point. Wow. Bit of a lapse in shot calling there from both teams. So we saw Kutztown with a pretty strong defense here. I mean, the Torb plays here from Char. I mean, again, I mean, incredible highlights tonight from Char. We saw that great headshot on a falling Pharah. It's really difficult to aim. And I mean, this damage coming out is just so much. Kind of playing like a flank Torbjorn almost, taking a lot of off angles. And we'll see another one here with the combination with the Gravitic Flux. That Molten Core just protecting that line from his team.
Yeah, the other thing I'm noticing in this replay here real quick is a lot of use of the right click on Torbjorn's primary there for the spread.
Yeah, that shotgun is definitely not to be messed with, especially when he's got that that overload, right? His E, he can you know, melt a Winston down really quick, and if you don't respect the Torbjorn's position and their abilities, it's definitely one you have to track. I mean, Austin, do you see a pattern here on defense?
Let's see. It looks like Jeff Kaplan has opted for the Torbjorn as well, maybe trying to copy some success from Kutztown's strategy. We've got Brigitte on Avalon now as well. Sigma and Colossus going with the Orisa.
Yeah.
We've got basically a mirror of the defensive composition from last interaction here.
Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, I mean, good artists create, greater artists steal. I'm not saying they're stealing, but I mean, honestly, this is a great way for them to practice this composition. They saw how powerful it was, and now they're going to practice it themselves. Kutztown's going to need some more long-range damage here if they want to get through these shields, but we'll see how they handle it. Bit of a long-range poke battle from both teams. Big Rick with a lot of damage. I mean, it's already 30% to his ultimate. Just shield damage back and forth. I mean, we see Zasper on this high ground just trying to keep Char at bay. Bone Wheel behind Char, protecting him and damage boosting those sticky bombs is a lot of damage. A lot of extra damage.
Yeah, this I gotta say, this team fight here looks like it's going to be a little bit longer than the initial team fight that Kutztown had against Avalon. They only need to hold out for a couple more seconds for that to be the case. Resurrect coming out from Bone Wheel to Lilo here, and Big Rick, Sponty, and Oko get melted there.
Yeah, that's a really, really good position for Team Avalon to be in, right? They had a super long team fight. And, you know, they managed to get a lot of ult percentage, but honestly, Kutztown is almost even in ult percentage. They just, I guess, lost players earlier than they wanted to, but it's already almost 2 minutes off the clock for Kutztown.
Yeah, Kutztown coming in here, trying to get something started with more of that long range back and forth that we saw earlier, the last team fight. We're gonna see here if Char can maybe try to get something started from high above with that Echo.
We're seeing 2 players rotate up on a high ground here for Team Avalon. I'm not sure that this is what they want to do, as there's less protection up on the high ground for their team, and now Kutztown's just going to lay
yeah, that's a bad
on the high
position
ground
there for HR team to be in.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a blunder for them moving, but I mean, Kutztown's losing players here. There's a chance that Avalon can come back, and as I say it, it is snuffed out. Yeah, Lilac and HR team moving off the high ground to go to the opposite high ground, I think was a big mistake for them. Losing that Brig health and that extra Sigma shield is important.
Yeah, we're about to see 5 ultimates on board from Kutztown here versus 3, almost 4 from Team Avalon.
Yeah, this is going to be an important fight because if you can win this fight without using a lot of ultimates, it sets you up for the next team fight win as well. Sponty with a flank! Gravitic Flux is going to find a lot of damage.
Gravitic Flux, yeah, there from Sponty. Absolutely huge up on that little rooftop on Hollywood here. Just knocking all of Team Avalon up in the air for a little while.
Yeah,
we see the bubble coming out from Avalon with Jeff Kaplan's turret there.
Honestly, I like having Big Rick. Big Rick, the lone person pushing the cart for a little while there. I like that. Having the Ashe push the cart does make a lot of sense. I mean, it has vertical mobility, can get out. And I don't really want anyone else pushing that cart. I don't really want the BAP alone on the cart. I don't really want the Mercy on the cart. Jeff Kaplan, the lone person to try to save the cart from that superficial boundary on the Scrim code here. Char switching over to an Ashe. Kutztown with 2 Ashes on the high ground, just laying
that's
damage.
Gonna hurt, man. Those hit scans, they hurt.
Yeah, man. That was a lot of high ground damage from Kutztown. A duplicated Bob for Kutztown there is going to seal that team fight win out, and now Avalon forced to retreat from this point. Lilac's going to get caught out here pretty late on the Brig. Managed to get out there. That was actually very surprising. Sponty almost getting dropped to 0 health there. Overcommitted a little bit there. Will get saved by Litlow, but now ultimates are going to start flying left and right here. Seeing
Zasper coming out with the Bob to try to get some extra damage out near the payload, trying to deter Kutztown from pushing much further.
Yeah, HR Teen with a 4-man Gravitic Flux. I mean, this game so far is, at least this attack here for Kutztown is a game of the Gravitic Fluxes, and I speak of the devil is a
slam
big
down
one.
on Colossus there from Sponty. That was huge damage.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Sigma versus Sigma matchup right here. I mean, we saw a great flank from Sponty on the second point there. That's a clip for sure, and we see another pretty big one to seal out a fight that Kutztown may have very easily lost there on this third point. Avalon finding their footing, getting their DPS spread out. Jeff Kaplan will find a big pick on the Bone Wheel early, and now Avalon has a chance to take this
rallying
point back.
cry from Lilac there. I like the idea.
Yeah, trying to keep the team alive, trying to guarantee that they win this fight. And I mean, oh, Jeff Kaplan on the Torbjorn just ripping through Kutztown, finding that early pick on the Bone Wheel, who's now swapped from the Mercy to a Brig to a Lucio. This is a pretty good defense that Avalon have put on this third point here. I like their positioning. I'd love to see Zasper on the high ground trying to poke out a little bit more damage, but Char's gonna find an early death to Zasper. Maybe his position was perfect. No ultimates on the side of Kutztown. Maybe a duplicate mid-fight here for Charlotte. But maybe 2 ultimates here for Avalon. This is gonna be a fight of the mechanics. See which team has better mechanics. There's that Baptiste ultimate, and Zasper just lighting up Kutztown with that dynamite. It's gonna be so much damage, getting 2 picks here early, and Oko Bros with his famous fresh shift and go in is gonna find
Zasper
one.
and Colossus fall down as well. Char coming in with the Sigma duplication. Sponty in pilot mode, not refusing to die.
He went really far forward there, like really scary on that Diva going that far forward. Kutztown
He had
a lot of
absolutely
ultimates
no
this fight.
fear. No fear in this man.
Wow, Kutztown blundered an opportunity to capture the point there. Jeff Kaplan staying alive for just long enough on that Torbjorn to buy time for Lilac to get back and touch the point right after his death. Kutztown struggling with their cleanup. We saw that a bit last week as well. It's just a communication issue they have to work on.
Yeah, really unfortunate after that. Such careful play from Sponty on that pilot Diva. She's super vulnerable when in that state, and you just saw him dancing around everything Avalon was throwing at him for a little while, and unfortunately Kutztown couldn't follow up on the time that he gave them.
So we saw a great little off angle flank there from Lilac to push Kutztown through that little corner they had stuck themselves in. We saw a lot of damage out from the Brig. A little bit of a surprise for the members of the backline members of Kutztown there. Kutztown with 1 shot here and only 1 ultimate. Here comes Oko Bros and it gets stunned out of him by Lilac. No ultimates for Kutztown.
Sponty's got ultimate at 87% right now, though. We'll need to keep the mech alive for a little while longer in order to throw that out. Maybe the sound barriers coming out from Bone Wheel might be able to do it. Self-destruct comes out. Only manages to get Inali there.
Oh! Bone Wheel with a little bit of a Metal Gear Solid stage on point for a little while there, and Avalon will prevent Kutztown from getting that 3rd point. We see both teams doing pretty well on defense, not necessarily on offense on this map. We saw some humongous Gravitic Fluxes. I mean, HRT and Sponty both just putting it down. Look at this damage incoming.
Yeah, big damage coming in from HRT in there. 4-man pick, it looks like, right there from the Sigma.
Yeah, Sigma MVP for both sides here. Sponty and HRT getting just so much value out of their ultimates. Was really awesome to see. You don't see a lot of that. got a bit of a highlight of some Sigma play here from um, Kutztown or Avalon. Honestly, both teams would have some great highlights here. We saw a lot of good Torbjorn damage, both from Char and Jeff Kaplan on defense. I mean, there's that play of the game one more time there from HRT. Just so much damage in that little hallway.
And
a great
here we
finish.
are on Route 66.
Yeah, we saw a couple weeks ago when the May McCree meta was a little more prevalent. We saw them holding really close on defense here, Kutztown, deciding to sit inside of that shipping container and kind of surprise the enemy team when they come out. Love to see what they're deciding to do now. I know last week they didn't do it, but looks like we're going to have Big Rick on the Soldier. Looks like we probably won't be seeing much of a surprise composition from Kutztown.
Yeah, it looks like we're seeing a similar composition from what Kutztown did on defense on this map last week, where they were kind of happy to give up that early real estate in order to get the positioning on top of that gas station there.
Yeah, we're I'm not sure this composition from Kutztown is gonna stick as of right now, but this is a very interesting one. Orisa with this composition, Soldier with this composition, a little bit interesting. There we go, making the Soldier pick a little bit more, make a little bit more sense here is Litlo switching to Baptiste, but we still do have Tracer, Zen, Diva, a little bit of a three-man dive team, and Soldier, Bap, Orisa, another kind of sturdy, stay on the high ground team. And we're seeing a 100% dive team from Avalon. Every character, minus Zenyatta, is going to be in there.
Yeah, and I do think the Zenyatta on Team Avalon is honestly just there to enable some of those other dive characters that you were talking about. Although we do see Zasper switching off to the Hanzo here. Still a very aggro team combination, if you will, though.
Yeah, I like this because you can force the enemy team's shields to turn around by having your tanks push in, having the Winston and the Wrecking Ball push in, turn them around, and then you have that damage, right, from either that Echo or that Hanzo from Zasper to find those players that are now completely out of position because their tanks are turned around.
Attackers incoming.
All right, and we are getting into the match here. Jeff Kaplan camping out this top platform here on Route 66, trying to sneak around from the top platform here, trying maybe to get some cheeky picks with the Tracer mobility here. He's just kind of hanging out there for now. Although
Here comes that dive call. So much damage from the cleave of the Tesla cannon of Colossus, but unfortunately his health pool is not big enough to keep him alive.
Oh, but big res coming in from Inali there right before they go down themselves. Colossus lives another day.
Wow,
until now.
Catching both of the backline players of Avalon there. Bit of a Tracer duel will probably be happening here in this bottom cave to deny them that space. Jeff Kaplan playing very patient, waiting for his team to get ready. We saw a pretty good dive call there from Avalon, pretty much getting there all at the same time. Colossus just taking too much damage too quickly for his team to help him out. Let's hope that they can coordinate a better dive now that we have HRT behind Kutztown.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that they did get some, did get something out of that interaction because Colossus is at 82% ultimate charge right now. Kutztown has 3 ultimates themselves.
Wow! I mean, Char is putting on a masterclass today on this Tracer defense. Doesn't have an immense amount of damage, but Tracer's job isn't necessarily to be the damage dealer, is to be the damage finisher. Now we see this 1v1 here between Char and Jeff Kaplan, and Char will take it.
Yeah, we do see the ultimate on the ready for Jeff Kaplan here. Colossus still at 94% because he died early yet again in that other team fight. But Zasper is coming up on ultimate charge as well.
We see HR again just trying to get behind Kutztown and set up, but Charlotte just not allowing it, bugging him to no end, stealing these mega health packs from him.
Chasing him down and just denying that possibility.
Now the front line of Avalon is in a bit of a tough position here. Great reaction time there from Bonewheel to save his life. He did get stuck by Jeff Kaplan before he was taken down by Bonewheel, but Bonewheel pressing Q and saving his life will save him that long walk back from the spawn room. Kutztown's holding strong here on this high ground. Avalon has not switched their composition up.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Zasper might do with this duplication on the ready. We have Colossus with the Primal Rage ready, so we might see... Okay, Zasper opts to go for the Diva duplication. I don't know if that was necessarily the best choice.
Yeah, Big Rick finding a lot of damage there. You see he was in a great position to use that tactical visor from a range. The ultimates here from Avalon are just not working out here. We'll see a swap here from Anali from the Mercy onto the Brig. I think that this is at least a better pick because you know, you give your team a little bit more sustain if you can get in. Now the issue is Kutztown's on a high ground and Anali's going to have to get up there if they want to heal their team. So, you know, Brig has to fight to heal. So it looks like Anali may be undoing that change now. Not a lot of time for Avalon here on first point.
Yep, Kaplan is desperately trying to get some better positioning here with the Hanzo. Just kind of peeking in and out from behind that rock formation there.
Yeah, Jeff Kaplan just dealing as much damage as he can early here, trying to deal with this backline Tracer and Char, and Lilac and Jeff Kaplan will find it early. Lilac pressing Q, just guaranteeing the team does not die for a couple of seconds. Kutztown slowly crumbling on the high ground here. This sustained damage from Avalon is just too much for Kutztown after they lost a player. And they'll grab that first point.
Yeah, just in time too.
Yeah, this is a theme with Avalon is they will capture, but it's just barely on time here on this first point. We saw Char stick a pulse bomb on a Jeff Kaplan, and he did break the golden rule of Overwatch, which is if you get stuck, don't move at all. Did put his team in a little bit of danger by running away, but it all worked out for him. Sponty did his absolute best to protect Big Rick there, body blocking all that damage, but it just wasn't enough to get him back into spawn safely. And that's more room for Avalon, right? Look how much further this cart is getting through second point. We're already halfway through second point. And Kutztown has not even been...
And they've got almost 4 ultimates at their disposal here. Jeff Kaplan coming with the Wakatiki.
Yeah, that Dragon Strike will find Big Rick, who is probably an unexpected player, is a little bit further back towards the spawn room.
Kutztown needs to be very careful here. Orb of Discord, very low.
Yeah, we see another humongous Gravitic Flux from HR-Teen, just showing his mechanical prowess and his ability usage skill on this character. But Kutztown's beginning to come back here. There's still a healer on the side of Avalon, so they could survive.
There.
Yeah, we saw a lot of high ground damage from both Litlow and Big Rick. I mean, that seems to be Kutztown's bread and butter, right? We saw it a lot on Route 66. We're seeing it now again on this map. Just that the sustained high ground damage is just too much for Avalon to deal with. And we're going to see a swap onto Cassidy from Jeff Kaplan here, off of that Hanzo. My guess is he's trying to deal a little bit more damage to, a little bit more pressure to this Tracer, Kutztown's Tracer. Kutztown just getting absolutely destroyed by that sticky bomb of Zasper. That pull there from Colossus was a great call. I'm sure they have the Orisa pull communications down because that was excellent use of that ability.
Yeah, they put down the Orisa ultimate in a really good spot there.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that. Overwatch League 2018 Grand Finals, I mean, I guess the whole playoffs was basically using Orisa pull when it had a wider range to pull people into damage. like Dragon Strikes and Dynamites and whatnot. And I mean, that's the bread and butter of playing Orisa, is those good communicative moments where you call a pull and your team just follows up with the damage. Zasper winning the 1v1 against Charlotte, putting Kutztown down a player early here. They have an opportunity to push pretty far, but Kutztown's on this high ground still. They do have a positional advantage over Avalon right now.
Yeah, Jeff Kaplan still employing that in and out style that we saw before, where he just kind of peeks around the corner, gets a couple shots off, and then, you know, peeks back into cover.
The great flank at the beginning of this fight. After respawning, I guess Avalon was not ready for it. They weren't paying attention, and Charlotte managed to get an early pick on a Lilac, who's now switching over from the Zenyatta to the Brig. Has already had enough of Charlotte's crap and has switched over to the hard counter character just to try to close this out. Now we have a lot of ultimates for Avalon here.
Yeah, they've got the High Noon, they've got the Sigma, they've got the Duplication, and they've got the Immortality Field.
Wow, a lot of utility from Kutztown getting used early here in that Transcendence and that Immortality Field. We'll see a high ground bongo from Oko trying to give their team an upper advantage with damage, and it looks like it's going to be working out. We saw Kutztown's DPS spread out across the high ground and the low ground. Was a great use of their space there. And I mean, without a lot of ultimates after the beginning of that fight, Avalon is just kind of left to take all that damage.
Ready for battle.
Well, that was a pretty good push for Avalon, especially after that shaky first point. I mean, second point went as smooth as a whistle for them, you know.
We're about to see some replays here from Char on the Tracer here. First point here with some absolute crazy early picks here.
Yeah, we'll see him kind of rip through this backline, finds that Zenyatta right there.
Yeah, already charging the ultimate to almost 60% here, just in that quick little interaction.
I have to say, I'm very impressed with the close range tracking skill from Char. And I mean, speaking of DPS on Kutztown side, I mean, Big Rick, we've got a highlight from him. Had a good round supporting his fellow DPS Charlotte on this background Soldier 76. I mean, this tactical visor here. I mean, look at the range he gets.
With the damage matrix from the Orisa as well, that's gonna do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And we see why it's one of the replays here, because that was just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, both the DPS on Kutztown showing that they have great tracking skills. I mean, after Avalon had committed those movement abilities to getting onto that high ground, Big Rick saw an opportunity to use that tactical visor, and it worked out really well for him. Kutztown had a great first defense, as they almost always do on these payload hybrid maps. It's a shame that they you know, at the last second will lose you know, their first point stand, but you know, on third point they did have a pretty good showing. They did kind of forget to show up on second point, honestly, losing a player in the name of Big Rick pretty early, and then also Big Rick getting taken out again by a well-placed Dragon Strike from Zasper. Getting right back into it here. Kutztown on offense on Route 66. Aggressive dive composition with the Ana from Litlo. Litlo's pretty familiar with the character, one of their mains. And now we're going to see probably some aggressive biotic grenades here to try to enable these tanks on Kutztown to just deal a ton of damage. And now we've got Lilac and Anali. Their job is to stop all of that damage from coming in. Let's see how it works. A great boop from Lilac there onto Oko, keeping him out long enough to just deal way too much damage that he can handle.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden,
they're kind of forced to retreat away using the Diva Jet boosters in order to survive.
Yeah, he's lucky to get out with his mech, especially after all the damage we saw onto Oko so quickly. Charlotte finding a position underneath the gas station here, underneath Big Earl's, trying to find a good flank opportunity, and Zasper trying to make sure he knows where Charlotte is.
Yeah, speaking of flank positions, Big Rick we saw trying to do some flanking himself on that Tracer.
Good high ground position here from Avalon's, keeping them alive. I mean, they're not giving this position up, which is exactly what you want to do in a scenario against Dive. You cannot give Dive the high ground, or they're just gonna run all over you. Jeff Kaplan, the lone person on the point to defend the cart. Lilac joining him. Zasper finding good damage on a Litlow in the backline, was a little bit out of position there and did not have a way out.
Yeah, we see Bonewheel coming in with the resurrection on Litlow there, so HR Teen, though, kind of coming in and making that completely pointless. Just getting melted once again.
Yeah, not only did that resurrect burn some more time off of Kutztown's clock by making their fight, you know, get lost later, but you know, what it also does is it gives the enemy team more ult charge. It also takes that resurrect cooldown away from Bonewheel for 30 seconds. So that's bad news
Big
if
Rick
you waste
swap
it.
off to the Hanzo here, maybe for the scan arrow, maybe for some more precise shots here.
Wow, despite the damage from Avalon, that was a humongous anti-grenade, biotic grenade there from Litlow, but I mean, Avalon's just really playing a great defensive so far on this first point. Char's able to find the Orisa Colossus on Avalon, and if Kutztown can get out right now, this will give them an advantage in a couple seconds, right? You have to have this Orisa walk all the way back from spawn, and Kutztown will have a moment where they can push in if they take advantage of it right now.
Yeah, Orisa not exactly a character known for their mobility with that horse-like structure.
A horse-like structure is the best way I've ever heard that character described. Kutztown did not push in very quickly, not taking advantage of that little power play that they were given. But now deciding to fight on the card like a brawl comp would. This is not looking good for Kutztown as they lose their main healer early and their other healer goes to resurrect. They have no healing up front. And as a result, they'll lose that mech on the side of Spongy. Another bomb gets thrown. Kutztown's backline responds pretty well to it, but Jeff Kaplan will find Oko early.
Yeah, Sponty getting knocked out of the mech and dying as well. Big Rick falling down shortly after.
Zasper saved that flashbang for a while there to try to catch a player out, and he did find Big Rick at the end there. Kutztown with 10 seconds and a few ultimates here to try to get in. Lilac's gonna be looking to boop some players off. Here comes Oko Bros, an impossible boop. Will boop, but not out of the way. Here comes Dragon Strike
coming out from Jeff Kaplan. We've got the rallying point coming out from Lilac. Absolute ultimate madness happening right now. Char has duplicated Sponty on the Diva there.
It's up to Charlotte.
Coming out with a
kills here.
self-destruct.
Oh, it almost gets a lot of damage, but a big anti-grenade. Litlow with a big anti-grenade could mean something for Kutztown if they can get players back, but Avalon with great cleanup at the end there will take a great defensive stand here on first point, Route 66. Avalon with their feet firmly on the ground, on that high ground. I mean, they didn't leave often. The only time I really saw them leave was right at the end of a fight, and also when their main tank Colossus was walking back from spawn. Both are very good times to jump off of that high ground. That was a great defense from Avalon.
All right, we are about to see a replay here from the last game from Char on the Echo, duplicating that Diva with that huge self-destruct coming in. Kutztown was able to use that ultimate twice because of that duplication there. Really smart placement and strategy there from Kutztown's players, coordinating to make all that damage happen.
Yeah, I mean, an even greater response from the supports of Avalon using their immortality field and using that brig shield to try to just block as much of that as they could, and didn't lose any players. I mean, a great response from them. Um, Volsky Industries, I mean, this is a game mode, this Assault game mode, this 2 CP game mode that we're not going to be seeing a lot more of um, come a month from now, right? I mean, we did skip over our weekly Overwatch 2 news segment, but um, I mean, the news is that we have a beta in 2 days, less than a month. So when that beta comes out, there will be no Volskaya, there will be no Hanamura, there will be no Paris, no Horizon Lunar Colony. This game mode will be no more. I mean, these maps may get reused in other ways for other game modes, but 2CP will be a thing of the past, which I think a lot of the community will be happy about. Kutztown with a bit of a high ground supported dive composition on defense here. Dive on defense on 2CP is a very popular thing that you see from these Overwatch League teams, but it does come with an asterisk, and that is it is incredibly difficult to play. If you can play it well, it is unstoppable on defense here, especially on second point. Seeing how close that respawn room is for the defenders, you have to win a team fight pretty much with 4+ players, or it's over, because the respawns come in so quick. We'll see a bit of a supported dive as well from Avalon.
Yeah, we see Oko out in the front with the bubble shield here, kind of trying to get a little bit of interaction from Team Avalon early, maybe try to scout out exactly what their team composition is, maybe try to figure out what strategy they might be going for here.
Yeah, I love this composition from Avalon here. We have Colossus as kind of the poker and the prodder to try to get people away from where they're standing. We have the support from the Brigida and Lilac and those bubbles from HR Team, but they're just not enough. I mean, I think Colossus may have overcommitted there. Speaking of overcommitting, Oko almost going into the enemy's backline there alone.
Yeah, I mean,
turn around.
to be fair, it did work out for him, the biotic grenade coming from Litlow really saving his skin there.
Charlotte just barely getting out from a 1v1 against Zasper. Zasper's chasing him
but
down.
It's not over yet. They're still gonna have the Tracer showdown.
They will barely get out of there, and now they have another opportunity to come behind them. A nano boost on a monkey inside there, that's dangerous. That is a lot of cleave damage there from that Tesla cannon that Oko Bros is holding. Char will get stunned, but will get out with their life. Jeff Kaplan will find a long-range hit onto Litlow. That's big. That's an opener here for Avalon, and they're going to take advantage of it.
Char and Zasper have just been going back and forth constantly on these Tracer duels.
We saw a whipped pulse bomb from Char. Might have been almost too late, but if we got 2 picks with that, it might have been worthwhile. But even though Kutztown is losing, just because that pulse bomb was used isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Pulse bomb is an ultimate that you get very quickly. If Avalon is smart here, they'll leave Big Rick alive and just push to the second point. But
yeah, they left him alive for a little bit there, but after a few seconds, they got sick of looking at his face, I guess.
yeah. I mean, that visor is covering some big scars, man. I'm not sure what's under there. Avalon with 4.5 minutes left on the clock. They're looking pretty healthy, and they do have that Grav combo, right? I mean, keep an eye on HRT and Zasper, as if they can catch a player out here, especially without the defense matrix up on Kutztown's side. They're going to find a lot of kills.
Yeah, that absolutely huge combo from the Graviton Surge and the Pulse Bomb could be a problem if Kutztown's not ready for it.
That's the first ultimate we're seeing on the side of Avalon on this push here. I mean, they practically got to the point and had all their players on it before they even pressed Q once, which is very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that kind of play from Jeff Kaplan earlier on the Hansa with the Wakatiki, not necessarily shooting it out for damage, but for positioning, just trying to deny some real estate from Kutztown there, and doing it to great effect.
Ready.
Yeah, that was actually a bit of a quick push there from Avalon. Great positioning from them. I think what we saw in their first game on Lijiang Tower is that Avalon struggled a little bit with taking advantage of Kutztown's mistakes, their positional mistakes, their ability usage mistakes. And now, honestly, we're seeing a great adaptation from them. This is what you tend to see um, in these later portions of the scrim, and we'll see HR Teen here on the second point in a replay. This Zarya grab that they held on to for so long, getting a lot of usage, I believe, caught 2 players and then a third right at the end. Kutztown just stopped right at their door. I mean, Avalon barely pressed Q to get to that point, which is really impressive. So I hope that they can turn that great offense into a great defense as well.
Yeah, we see the Zarya coming out from Sponty on Kutztown's side for the offense here. And Char on the Tracer as well. Okay, Sponty just swapped off to the Diva there. Maybe looking to swap to the Zarya maybe later on in the match where they can get some more utility from the Graviton Surge. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've got I mean, this is the kind of bread and butter of defense tonight. We're seeing these high ground defensive comps with the Torbjorn to prevent those dive characters from flanking as easy. I mean, that's the main purpose of the auto turret. It is a great form of extra damage, but at the end of the day, it's incredibly hard for, you know, a Tracer or an Echo to get rid of that turret if they don't have any help. So what that turret is doing is it's a little bit of an insurance policy for Avalon on defense here, where, you know, wherever he places it's probably going to be in the line of sight of his supports to try to keep them alive for longer.
Yeah, we see Big Rick on the Soldier, maybe kind of anticipating a strategy like that. We know Soldier can definitely deploy his machine gun or maybe some Helix rockets to try to get that turret down, but we'll see how it goes.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
And the doors are open for Kutztown, a bit of a dive defense, or dive offense, excuse me, here. We've got Big Rick on the supporting DPS. I guess those Helix rockets are going to have to get a lot of value from a distance. Char alone on the point, I'm not sure that's a great idea right now, as this round high ground that covers both sides of the point is very dangerous for a Tracer to be alone on.
Yeah, maybe trying to bait something out from Team Avalon there. I'm not sure entirely what they were going for. Maybe just trying to agitate them a little bit. But we see them getting a little irresponsible there, and they die because of it.
Yeah, I mean, Kutztown getting taking advantage of that damage that they laid out onto Colossus. Now has a super long walk back, and now Avalon doesn't have that main shield.
They do still have the Lilac on the Brigitte there, but yeah, it's not nearly as much coverage as they probably want. And we see Oko getting nano boosted here inside this little building here.
Yeah, he did get a lot of damage out, but Kutztown is not killing these players as fast as they hope. I mean, Avalon has an opportunity here to come back.
Big Rick coming out with the tactical visor with the damage boost from the Bone Wheel on Mercy here on that high ground, trying to get some utility on that Soldier from that high ground, just trying to get something going here. They've got 2-6 on the point, but can they take the third?
Yeah, Oko Bros just went ape mode there onto a Nolly in the corner of that mega health pack room for a good long while he was alone. Now Kutztown with over 30 seconds more time than Avalon had on their offense, and they had a great first offensive push. Kutztown so far showing a bit of a stronger push, but we'll see with these defensive ultimates of Zasper and Colossus if Kutztown can get through them.
Zasper coming out with the high noon. Let's see what he can do with it.
Looks like he will just be buying time for his team. Kutztown will back off. Smart move from Kutztown. I like Zasper's idea. I think maybe if he waited for Kutztown to commit a little bit more to the fight, he would have gotten more value out of it.
Oh, another nano boost on Oko. Has to leap out from that ultimate happening from Sponty there.
Yeah, I mean, Kutztown in a bad position right now, even though it looked promising at the beginning. You know, like I said, 2CP maps like this, these assault maps, you need to win a fight with 4 more players than the enemy team has in order to really take a point. But they did get that tick. They did get that first tick.
Yeah, and that might be all they need to kind of swing the second point here in their favor.
Kutztown staging their dive right now, getting ready to go in. There goes Oko Bros and Sponty.
And Big Rick on the tactical visor once again. Got the healing field out, just trying to get some utility with that soldier. Maybe just some suppressing fire to try to limit the positioning of Team Avalon here.
Kutztown falling to Avalon's defense here. Big Rick finding a goodbye kill. And Colossus, I mean, Colossus so far has just been getting kind of lasered by Kutztown. I guess Orisa is a great target for a soldier to shoot. It's just such a big headshot hitbox on that character.
Big box too.
Yeah, it's hard to miss, especially when you're damage boosted. You have that little bit of an ego boost with the Mercy damage boost. Definitely increases your accuracy.
We see Team Avalon here with 3 ultimates on the ready. Sigma, Cassidy, and Baptiste with the Immortality field.
We saw Zasper kind of waiting for a flank from Charlotte that never came, and it may have cost his tank's life. Oko Bros going crazy, but it's very low.
Against HR-teen. Wow, Zasper with the high noon, but Char denying that ultimate from coming out. It looks like Kutztown will be able to take this point.
Yeah, Kutztown preventing that hero play that Zasper had set up for himself with that high noon, taking him out really quick. I mean, yeah, we saw some like scrappy dives there from Kutztown, but I mean, Oko Bros on this Winston did a lot of work. Yeah, we've got a highlight here, Austin. Give it to him.
Nano boosted Winston here from Oko inside that little corridor on Volskaya here, second point. He gets stunned, but all of the damage coming out just does not stop. He is an unstoppable force, meeting an immovable object, and Kutztown just came out on top in that interaction.
Yeah, I mean, Oko Bros just getting a lot of value out of the Primal Rage in those corners. And like, you know, if you're a lone support in a corner like that, especially in a mid-fight scenario where your team's kind of busy doing their own thing, it would be, you know, a bit of a daunting task to take on. So, yeah, let's Austin, what are we seeing on the composition for Kutztown right now?
A very similar composition to the last match, in the fact that they've got a very aggressive combination. You know, they've got Sponty with the Diva, Oko with the Winston, the 2 classic dive tanks here, Char on the Sombra, Litlo with the Moira with the teleport, and the Lucio boost on top of it all. Just absolutely insane mobility from that composition. We see a very similar thing from Team Avalon on the opposite side, although not quite as boosted as Kutztown.
Yeah, I love this this Reaper Sombra. It brings me shades of the Doom Sombra dive that was the one composition to break the GOATS meta, especially on a map like this on Ilios. I mean, King of the Hill maps was so easy for GOATS to just roll on. And with a well-coordinated Doom Sombra dive, which we're pretty much seeing here in the Doom Reaper, we're just going to see a hacked target get absolutely lit up by Big Rick, by Sponty, by Oko. And now on the defense, right, we've got Zasper, whose job is to try to cut off Kutztown's supports from Kutztown's tanks. With that Mei wall, having, I believe it's 5 pylons that he has to his name every like 12 seconds. So with some well-placed walls, Zasper will be able to stop some of these pushes from Kutztown.
2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
And they're off.
We're about to see which composition will be able to get their team to the point faster here. It looks like Kutztown might have gotten there a little bit faster because they've got a little bit more of a forward position. Zasper coming in with the Mei wall to try to disrupt some of that, pushing Kutztown back a little bit, trying to get some real estate on this point when it unlocks. And they will
take a look at Colossus's ultimate charge. He has thrown a ton of like multi-man fire strikes. He's already at 84% ultimate charge on this Earth Shatter. Kutztown is not going to be expecting this when it comes out. We might see it right now.
The Cassidy at 81%, nothing to scoff at either, and a Nolly on the Moira has basically got their ultimate ready to go as well. And here comes the Earth Shatter.
Doesn't look like it's going to find anything, but I'm sure Kutztown was a little surprised to see it come out that quick. And here's the EMP finding
EMP strike. 5-man EMP strike, and the Death Blossom coming out from Big Rick, absolutely melting Team Avalon. Wow. What a disaster.
Wow, Avalon had a great start there. I mean, they pushed Kutztown all the way through that mega health pack room. They scared them off. They came back and they started losing the fight slowly. And Char, I mean, got that EMP so quickly. Got a 4-man, or I'm sorry, a 5-man EMP. It was everybody that wasn't Jeff Kaplan. And Big Rick just got all that follow-up damage.
Yeah, Jeff Kaplan, he had the anime plot armor, so he lived to tell the tale. But everybody else just got melted.
Great offensive push here with the speed boost from Lilac, but Avalon hasn't found anything yet. Big
self-destruct coming out from Sponty and HR-Teen, but HR-Teen is gonna die outside of the mech after that self-destruct goes off. Another Earth Shatter coming out from Colossus. Again, not finding a lot off of these ultimates.
It was his second Shatter already, with only a couple % on the point here for both teams. Kutztown building up their ultimates. They're probably going to have them almost all at the same time, minus their coalescence here from their Moira Litlow. Zasper with a cryo freeze here. This is going to be difficult to place against a team composition like Kutztown. I mean, I think Lucio might be the only character that you can guarantee where they're standing right now is going to be where they're going to, be for another second. But I mean, with wall climbing, he could probably get out to wherever he wants. Keep an eye on Zasper here for this ultimate usage. And there it goes. It looks like he's just going to be using it to clear off this point and give Avalon a little bit of a line in the sand where this fight is happening.
Jeff Kaplan coming in with the high noon, melting Oko.
Yeah, Kutztown's still in it though. I mean, they still have a couple players around. Lilac using that sound barrier to try to guarantee this team fight win. Sponty and HR-Teen will be losing their mechs here, but Kutztown is recommitting to this fight with their own sound barrier.
Yeah, Bone Whale coming in absolute clutch here to try to guarantee this fight, and Char with another big 5-man EMP burst.
Yeah, it didn't find anything immediately, but what it did is it denied a lot of their ability usage for a little bit. Now Kutztown has a lot of work still to do here, and Big Rick with a teleport Death Blossom won't find anything!
Vertical Death Blossom.
He was flying and he didn't find anything. Lilac with a boop to save his team from it.
Wow, that Maywall was absolutely perfectly placed there by Zasper to block the Diva ultimate from Spawnzy.
We saw our second cryo freeze of the team fight from Zasper, but it just didn't find anything for a second time. Avalon does have the point, mind you. I mean, they've had the point this whole team fight and now are taking a % lead on Kutztown.
Yeah, this
with
game
98.
is turning out to be really close at the end here. 98%, 98%. Avalon is going to need to be able to take this team fight if they hope to win here. Otherwise, it's going to be the match for Kutztown here. We see HR18 coming in with the self-destruct, but nobody else is there to follow up on it. HR18 is there all by themselves.
Yeah, I think we saw a bit of an underestimation of the amount of % that Kutztown had on the point from Avalon's team members that were there, right? We saw Anali sacrifice themselves using the Moira Fade with its new jump height buff to get right to the point and immediately die, but does trigger the overtime for their team. I think because they were at 93, they weren't really looking at Kutztown's %, but Kutztown had about 93% of their own. And if they flip the point, you've only got about 12 seconds to get to the point. I think they waited a little bit too long to push around that corner. But I mean, that was one of the closest matches we've had so far. Simply Avalon keeping control of the point during that really long and scrappy team fight.
Right, we're about to see the big Death Blossom from Big Rick here, following up on that absolutely huge 5-man EMP burst from Char. Just look at how he melts through Team Avalon here. They have no way to respond to this pretty much because all of their abilities have just been taken away from them.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically that Reaper is just nice and warm, open arms at that point because there's nothing you can do. There's no abilities you can use. There's no speed boosts that will save you. There's no immortality fields that will save you. You're pretty much, you know, your fate is sealed at that point. And I mean, that's the power of that Sombra composition, just denying the enemy of their abilities, kind of removing a piece of the game for every character. So looks like they're probably going to stick with a similar composition, but we'll see Big Rick on this soldier now.
Oh, wow, HR team going for the Roadhog here. Interesting choice.
Right, we've got a new pick tonight. I believe we haven't seen any Roadhog. Is that right?
I don't remember seeing any.
Yeah, I'd love to see what how this goes down, but oh, we're gonna switch.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say that seemed a little bit too good to be true.
And stay tuned after the scrim is over. We're gonna be having a dual interview with Colossus of Team Avalon and Sponty of Team Kutztown. It should be an absolute banger. All right, so what are we seeing really here? I mean, compositions could change at a moment's notice, but seeing as we saw the, you know, Reaper Sombra, are we expecting Kutztown to keep that?
Well, apparently Kutztown says no because Big Rick has swapped off to the Soldier, Char going to the Tracer as well. So maybe they're trying to do a different strategy for this map in particular here. But we see that Team Avalon has fully adopted the Kutztown strategy from last match. They have a Sombra and Reaper of their own with Zasper and Jeff Kaplan.
Yeah, I mean, here we go. This might be the last map of the night. Sorry, one more map after this map on Ilios, but Kutztown setting up here on the high ground. Really great starting position for them. A great anti-grenade on the tanks is going to be a lot of damage, but Jeff Kaplan will find the first blood.
Yeah, Big Rick falling early there. Char is hacked right now. very scary for a character like Tracer, low health hero, and without all the mobility options, she's kind of just a sitting duck.
Both teams opting not to go for the point right now. Instead, they just really want to win this fight. Avalon had that advantage. They're saying we want to keep this advantage, so we're gonna you know, halt on capturing the point. We're gonna try to kill more of Kutztown's members.
Yeah, and we see that strategy, it looks like it worked out for Team Avalon because they are the first to take this point here.
Yeah, we're already seeing
Moira ultimate already coming out from Inali so early in the game with that Kamehameha coming out.
Yeah, keep an eye out on Charlotte, who does have that pulse bomb. Looking for something in the back lines of Team Anomaly, but we'll find an early death to HRT and a lot of damage pretty quickly. And Kutztown is faltering on these first two fights here. And I mean, this is a great position for Avalon. They've got 4 ultimates coming up here.
Yeah, it's gonna be 4v5 right now because we see 5 people on Kutztown have their ultimates ready as well. So it's gonna be a bit of a battle of the ultimates here in the next couple minutes here.
Lilac in a sneaky position above Kutztown where they're going to be coming out. Probably looking to boop a support out of the way, but Big Rick will spot him and pepper him a little bit, but Lilac is not phased.
Okay, EMP coming out from Zasper, or...
Yeah, I believe that was
Zasper's
Zasper. Didn't find any with that EMP. Practically EMP'd his own team there.
Yeah, I was just a little confused there because of that strange interaction.
Yeah, Kutztown will be finding 2 on the point
Oh,
here.
wow, big boop from Kutztown on HRT in there. Knocking the Diva out of the mech, and then Pilot Diva into the void, falling to her doom.
I mean, Kutztown's got a lot of work ahead of them, right? 84% to 0. Avalon found a lot of real estate around their own high ground and Kutztown's high ground. And Kutztown's got a lot of work.
Yeah, and it looks like the ultimate economy has shifted in the favor of Team Avalon here. Only one player on Kutztown has the ultimate ready, Bonewheel with the rallying cry, but Inali and HRT with their ultimates ready to go.
Bit of a dive here onto Kutztown's high ground. Came to a fault pretty quickly, and now
Wow, big bionic grenade coming out from Litlow here, and the rallying cry coming out from Bonewheel, giving Kutztown that extra health, that extra overshield to absorb some of that damage.
Yeah, Litlow, you'll see on his health bar there, does have a couple of extra semi-permanent armor. They used to transfer, they used to stay for an infinite amount of time, but you know, pretty recently now they will only stay. They probably won't be their next team fight, so they are already gone. Kutztown with that nano boost almost online, very aggressive positioning from the tanks. He's gonna be using it here on one of his tanks. Sponty gets pushed all the way back. And now Kutztown's a little bit split here. This is bad news for them.
Okay, Char coming in with the pulse bomb there.
Yeah, Kutztown, they were split and Avalon saw it and took advantage of it, but Kutztown, the players that were split on Kutztown's side just bullied the backline of Avalon.
Did not get to use that tactical visor. He put it out and then he was just chased down by Colossus.
This is anybody's fight here. We have Jeff Kaplan, the lone damage really here for Avalon.
Yeah, coming out with the Best Blossom, maybe just for some area denial there.
Right. Just to try to keep Kutztown off of that point. It's anyone's fight here. If Kutztown can get there early, they'll find an early pick. They just have to be able to get to the point. And yeah, they will.
We see Sponty switching on to the Wrecking Ball here for that super fast movement and the disruption as well. Oko coming in to give him some backup here. We finally see some coalescence here from Kutztown trying to get this point back. Big Rick with the Echo, and Bonewheel coming with the rallying cry here, trying to win this last team fight. Everybody is fighting tooth and claw for this last point.
Jasper gets on point in the last second with that EMP to try to flip it for his team, but Kutztown will find it. This is an exciting last map here to watch. I mean, we're seeing so many back and forth dive fights. They're so hinged on these ultimate abilities. They're so hinged on these big, anti-grenades from Litlow, these big boops from Lilac. And we're going to well for our last map. Will we see any character switches?
Okay, Sponty looks like he might be switching to the Roadhog as well here. I don't want to get my hopes up in case he decides to swap off again, but I would really love to see some Roadhog here. Definitely an underrepresented character in these scrimmages that we've seen in the last few weeks.
I'd love to see that Zenyatta. I'd love to see the Roadhog here from Sponty. This is the map where you might see a little bit more of a change. Dive can work on this map, but as you can see, there's not a lot of valuable high ground around the point, right? Which is where you would want that high ground to be. So this Torb defense, if they can grab the point, is very valuable for Kutztown. If they manage to grab the point with this Torbjorn, it's going to be very difficult to take it back. And they're going to be sticking with it.
Wow, yeah. I am very surprised, but very pleased.
Yeah, this may work out for them against the Sombras. Sombra's going to have some trouble hacking players in Kutztown's backline. A big early hook there.
Oh, yeah, a big hook from Sponty on HRT there. Getting them out of the mech early there is pretty big for Kutztown here.
Now this Torb auto turret is free to just kind of rip through Avalon without worry of that defense matrix. Lilac looking for some cheeky boops on a Kutztown there. Will not find any, and Jeff Kaplan will trade with Big Rick. Bonewheel chasing, will find him. And HRT, Lilac, and Zasper alone on the point without their teammates.
Yeah, we see Kutztown able to take this point here. Now, like you said, it's gonna be a bit of a task for Team Avalon to get on this point now that they have their defenses up, if you will.
Wow, this is that was an incredibly messy first team fight for both teams. Bit of a round 2 of last week's Clown Fiesta. Kutztown's got to bring it back together if they want to hold this defense, and now they're spread out. And there comes
big
Sponty.
fortification coming out from Oko, though, absorbing so much damage there.
That Pharah getting immediate value, that Pharah swap from Jeff Kaplan, booping.
Oh, double boop right there from Kutztown there.
Oh, it's disaster for Avalon. Bonewheel finding an advantage in that boop and taking that revenge.
Massive double boop right there. That was insane.
Wow, he was angry after they lost Sponty to that Pharah boop, and he said, "I'm gonna give you a taste of your own medicine." I'm sure that got a reaction in the Overwatch comms for Kutztown.
Yeah, we see almost an even ultimate economy from both teams right here. Kutztown pulling up a little bit ahead of Team Avalon here, but they do have 2 more players coming up on their ultimate charges.
Yeah, I mean, Sponty's putting on quite a class with this Roadhog. I mean, I say it as he whiffs a hook onto a Pharah. I'm not sure he wanted that. But taking these off angles, you'll see him playing away from his tank, and that's exactly how you want to do this. So many ultimates getting thrown all at once here. Kutztown committing some defensive ultimates to try to stay alive here. Sponty pushing away Primal Raging Colossus to try to keep him away from his team.
Yeah, we saw the Roadhog Gatling gun coming out in that kerfuffle as well. Wow, Oko getting booped at the last second there.
We saw Avalon get the last laugh right at the end there with a second boop on a Kutztown's tanks. We may be seeing one more map here from these teams. It looks like we may be seeing a Gentleman's King Row pick, and here's that boop. I mean, I hope we're getting a highlight.
Double boop right there, yep.
Yeah, we saw 4 boops during that map, 2 from a Pharah. 2 from Bone Wheel on the side of Kutztown. And there it is. I mean, that's an angle on it. The Abyss claims 2 more souls. That was a great map to watch. I mean, Kutztown obviously took a bit of a dominant stance on that map. That anti-dive comp has been working for them, but it was fun to watch in a
Entering.
in a clown sense. There was just so much mischief all the time happening everywhere. With the Sombra, with the Roadhog, with the Torbjorn, with the Lucio, with the Pharah. That'll be a fun one to VoD if they decide to look at that one.
Yeah, you said it. You said it best. It reminds me of that meme where it's that guy saying, "I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me," and it's just a picture of the void.
Right. Yeah, that black void in the in the center of the point there. I'm sure Bonewheel's very familiar with pushing his foes into there, and I'm sure Jeff Kaplan has a few chalk marks on that far concussive blast, taking those players down there.
I mean, he
We're gonna
designed it
end tonight
himself, so,
on Scrim's Row here. Classic brawl map. I mean, are we gonna see a tank difference here?
well, it looks like Sponty is going for the Zarya here. Not sure if this is gonna stick, but could get some good utility from those bubble shields and the Graviton Surge on defense. You've got Oko on the Reinhardt that could follow it up with the Earth Shatter. You've got Big Rick on the Cassidy that could follow it up with the High Noon. So a lot of synergy, and then you've got the 2 supports, Litlow on Baptiste, Bone Wheel on the Lucio here, and we've got a very similar composition from Team Avalon here, minus the Orisa with HR Team and the Hanzo with Jeff Kaplan.
Yeah, I mean, this is really gonna be which team has the supports that can heal the quickest and speed boost them the best, and what tanks can deal the most damage. I mean, DPS really take a side stage here on this map, as it's really up to the tanks. You'll see on the we're using a scrim code here. This is a workshop mode, so you'll see the damage output numbers for these players on your screen when it starts. It's just you know, for those of you at home, keep an eye on those tank numbers and the support healing numbers. They're just gonna skyrocket when these doors open.
Zasper opting to switch off to the Tracer here, maybe trying to get some cheeky positional advantage with those Tracer movement abilities, maybe some harassment from a flanking position on Kutztown's players.
Yeah, Kutztown will be playing this defensive Mei McCree comp that we've seen them play pretty extensively in weeks prior. This is going to be hard to crack if they do decide to go some kind of offensive dive comp. It's just every character has something that they can use to keep themselves alive. And if you're playing a dive comp, that's not what you want, right? You want at least one target that can't get out. But I mean, if you look at Kutztown's lineup, Reinhardt's not dying, Zarya's not dying, McCree has a flashbang in a roll, May's definitely not dying. We have Baptiste, we have Lucio, both that can get out. If
Yeah,
they
I would
play
say
dive into this, they're gonna have to switch.
The biggest target might be the McCree, but like you said, he's got the flashbang, he's got the roll, so he does have options to escape.
Yeah, and looks like they're not going to be going with that dive comp, which is great for them. I think this is a good composition to come against Kutztown. They're playing really aggressively here. I do like this a lot. Oko Bros is a little bit far forward, but his healers will be keeping him up and speeding him around. Big Rick drawing first blood on a Colossus. This is bad news for Avalon. They don't have their main tank. They don't have that shield.
Yeah, they don't have their DPSs either. 3-4-man pick right there from Kutztown early on this map.
Yeah, I mean, even though we saw Big Rick's name a lot in the kill feed there, I mean, he is only second in damage. You'll see Oko Bros just leading the charge with 1400 damage already. And that Zarya is getting already 50 to grab. He's keeping up with his team, even though Gravitron Surge is a really high ultimate charge count.
Wow, big Earth Shatter coming out from Oko, but the Baptiste and Nolly on the other team being able to negate some of that damage there, although he does die for it.
Yeah, we saw, I mean, Kutztown's just slowly winning this fight here. If they're smart, they'll try to keep one of these players alive for a little while, but it looks like the only person, maybe Lilac, gonna try to sneak out in front of Kutztown, and he will do it. We may be seeing a sneaky shatter here from Sponty in the corner, but he is found out. I think that they know he's there, and they're about to go after him. Kutztown might have to play a little bit closer if they want to save him here.
Yeah, and we also see Colossus coming up with an Earth Shatter of his own. Here comes the Graviton Surge, but Zasper coming out with a clutch Maywall, blocking off Kutztown from being able to capitalize on top of it.
That was a great reaction from Colossus. He saw that Oko Bros was turned around, a little bit busy with that Gravitron that Sponty had put out, and he took that opportunity to shatter Kutztown's team that they were out of position. I mean, that was a great response from him, showing his skill and his decision-making skills on this character.
We see once again, these teams are very evenly matched, I would say, back and forth the whole night. Pretty much an even ultimate economy, once again, basically 4v4 right now. HR team coming in with a big self-destruct, only being able to find Oko off of that.
Yeah, we saw him turn around and try to block it, and that's when he took all that damage from Zasper and Colossus. A good idea from them to try to take advantage of him turning around again. So far, that's the name of the game, is turn around Oko Bros and take advantage of it. Kutztown using this this amplification matrix early to try to scare.
Oh wow, great positioning there real quick from Jeff Kaplan. He was up on the side there. Kutztown was not expecting the Cassidy to be there.
I mean, that was an actually great team fight win for Avalon there. They did a great job of booping players into that cryo freeze that Zasper put down, and following up on this damage. But look at these Kutztown players. They're invincible.
Wow,
they can't die on this
Bullwheel is
point
not
here.
giving up. He is skating around above the point here. He finally gets taken down. They swatted him like a fly.
I'm not sure it was valuable for Kutztown. Maybe if the cart was a little bit closer and they just wanted another opportunity to contest the cart before it got to third point here. But it looks like, I mean, they're just going to be respawning together and moving up anyway. And here we go. This is an important team fight for Kutztown. They have two ultimates they're coming up on, and a flank from Jeff Kaplan could be bad for Kutztown here. Big Rick responding to that flank, trying to flush him out. A great wall there from Char will let Oko take out Colossus with that signature charge of his.
Yeah, Jeff Kaplan super low as well, and he does manage to get picked off. Inali and Lilac falling too. The McCree is going on a spree.
Yeah, we saw Big Rick push Jeff Kaplan away from that flank and come back and just deal so much damage. Oko with that charge into that wall that Char put down was a great idea. That's the bread and butter of this composition is putting a wall down behind someone and having your Reinhardt just nail him into that wall. Now buying themselves some time here with this amplification matrix. Really not getting any kills, but you know, I mean, time off the clock is definitely a resource that they're taking, and a great Maywall to get Jeff Kaplan stuck in a corner. Wow, a great use of that from Charlotte there. This time with a couple of ultimates here. Avalon with maybe a couple more that they can use. Lilac playing a little aggressive here, trying to push Kutztown out of this choke point. Sponty on this Zarya 1v1ing Jeff Kaplan here on high energy. Was looking for a sneaky Gravitron, but will not find it. Avalon pushing up here, and a shatter
coming out with the Blizzard, and Oko trying to follow it up with that Earth Shatter there.
Yeah, that Blizzard
Team
Earthshatter
kill
combo
from
was
Kutztown
great.
University.
Well, that might have been the first one we heard all night, to be honest. I mean, take a look at Sponty's positioning right now.
30 seconds.
He'll win the 1v1 against the McCree, and now he's on the run, trying to get away from this Lucio and this Mei that are chasing after him. He'll find
Yeah.
respite in the high ground here.
He's taking tips from that classic rock song, you know, take the money and run.
Yeah, holding on to that Gravitron Surge. This is going to be bad news for Avalon here, especially if they can't use that defense
Oh,
mid to
big
eat it.
Maywall there from Zasper, trying to block Kutztown's retreat, but not good enough timing there, unfortunately.
Yeah, Kutztown deciding to use their Grav, and it just didn't find any follow-up because their backline was so busy just trying to survive. Avalon may have a chance here to push it all the way. I think that Kutztown, if they're quick, they may have an opportunity to touch the point. They did not switch onto a faster tank, and it looks like they're not going to get there.
Yeah,
with
it
all
looks like
6 players.
they've decided to kind of let Avalon take this second point here, and maybe lock down this third point here on King's Row.
This could be really bad for them if they overcommit positionally here and move back. I mean, look, the resources of Kutztown got burned backing up here, and now Avalon has an opportunity to push Kutztown really quickly. Oko with an aggressive Earthshatter gets blocked, put right in Colossus' face,
Wow,
and Jet
Death Kaplan
Kaplan.
coming out, 3-man high noon.
Yeah, I mean, that was big for them, just cleaning up Kutztown, and now this cart just continues to move along. The supports of Avalon keep the car moving.
Reverse team kill from Team Avalon, returning the favor from Kutztown.
Kutztown with a blizzard of their own. I imagine this this Matrix is going to get used by Lidlow pretty soon here. There it is.
And it's getting blocked by that Maywall. Zasper is proving to be an absolute nuisance for Kutztown's composition here.
Woo, wow. HR team with a great placement there, forcing Litlow to use that immortality field, but Kutztown is coming back slowly
Wow,
here. They will have
Char
respawn
did an
advantage.
absolutely great job cleaning up there with the Blizzard and the Icicle shots. Oko coming in, but gets knocked over by Colossus with the Earthshatter.
He's beginning to turn this fight for his team. Kutztown does have the respawn advantage, but Bone Wheel falling off is no good for Kutztown. Big Rick, the lone pressure on
Oh
the point,
wow,
sure, back
Immortality
to-
Field coming out from Litlow, trying to save Big Rick's life, fighting that Reinhardt, coming out with the high noon there. This is
Big
going
Rick.
absolutely nuts.
Big Rick with 2! Kutztown needed that to be able to survive, and Sponty with a remake kill. This may be it for Kutztown on King's Row. They may be able to pull this back, and it looks like they will. Wow, incredible support from Lidlow onto Big Rick with that immortality field at the last second to keep him alive long enough so he could get ult and kill 2 players. I
Yeah,
mean,
that was an amazing, what a team fight at the end.
yeah, and we're not even done. That was only one half of it. I mean, that was down to the wire twice there, on second point, nearly on second point and on third point. Wow. Just tank battles, tank battles, tank battles. Oko playing incredibly aggressive, not getting a ton of value out of these Earth Shatters. Honestly, Colossus the only one I think to get a successful, valuable Earth Shatter so far.
Attackers
Um,
incoming in 30 seconds.
And,
Yeah, we do
you know,
see that it is paying off in terms of damage, though. Oko only being outpaced by Big Rick in terms of damage.
And we've got a highlight. I mean, speak of Colossus, this first point that he played on Reinhardt, his team rotating really well, and there was that Earth Shatter that he found. Kutztown just
Big
kind of with their
Earth Shatter, 3-man Earth Shatter, 3-man charge there.
just finding Kutztown kind of with their minds elsewhere, busy with that Grav. They kind of overcommitted there, and he took advantage of it. That was a really smart play.
Now we see HR-Teen on the Roadhog. I wonder if that pick will remain for the start of the game here.
That would be a difficult character to justify on a map like this. But, you know, if you've got that Roadhog one-trick player and they just like to go, you know, do their thing, like Clockwork Vendetta, you know, let them do it. But we see Char here on the Widowmaker. Just probably not going to keep it. Probably just going to use this to check out the characters that are being picked here. Looks like we're going to see D.Va Reinhardt, which is the standard composition with the Mei McCree. We saw Zarya from Kutztown instead of that D.Va. Now, with the PK factor being gone, without that factor, right, they may not have the D.Va prowess that they're comfortable with, and so them picking that Zarya there may be more comfortable for them. I'd like to see them eventually maybe move back over to that D.Va, as D.Va is just absolutely doing everything right now. But we'll, you know, only time will tell with that.
It's very funny to see. Okay, we're about to see a highlight here from Jeff Kaplan here on the Cassidy here with a big two-man high noon here, and he manages to clean up Kutztown even after that.
Yeah, can you believe Kutztown won that fight? I can't. That was insane.
Absolute insanity.
Yeah. Bonewheel with a bit of a late arrival from spawn. A three-person flashbang there from Jeff Kaplan. Must have been a little bit scary for Kutztown, but that was a pretty great wall placement from Char. Pretty smart, putting it vertically backwards, forcing the enemy team to break a bunch of more wall pylons than they would normally have to. And now it's a tank battle here.
Kutztown manages to get 2 picks early here. Zasper falling down and Colossus dying as well. Looks like Kutztown might be able to take this point relatively early in this match here.
Yeah, that was a great first push win, and I mean, it was a bit of a longer fight, but they've got almost 6 minutes on the clock here for this payload push. Are finding a long-range kill on the Lilac, who seems a little amused in chat now. Kutztown's gonna try to take as much space as they can right now safely with only 5 players, right? They do have to keep 1 on the point. Bonewheel, the lone man, keeping the beat on the point. Kutztown's just trying to, honestly, they're trying to scare Avalon away. Trying to make sure that they know that this is their space, that they can't mess with it. But we see a flank here from Jeff Kaplan on the opposite high ground. Here comes the high noon, and Kutztown can't turn around quick enough.
Flank high noon gets 2 players from Kutztown. Big Rick low health as well. Bonewheel falling down. Big Rick eventually falling down himself. Oko coming out with the Earth Shatter, trying to bring this team fight back in Kutztown's favor.
This is winnable for Kutztown now, even after all that damage and those 2 kills from Jeff Kaplan. Jeff Kaplan got a little bit overzealous, and a remake attempt from HRT, and here it comes. Oh, he gets taken out at the last second. That would have been disastrous for Kutztown. They would have lost the player pretty late there, and speaking of losing a player late, there goes Jeff Kaplan.
Yeah, I think HRT there might have had some problems with his keyboard, because I saw him crouching there for a couple seconds when he could have been pressing the Q button.
Maybe instead of remaking, was just opting to hide on the payload and see if Kutztown noticed. An incredibly aggressive Blizzard here from Kutztown and a defensive one from Zasper. Only 1 or 2 players frozen that whole time. Kutztown with an easy second point take. That cart was uncontested. And now on 3rd point here, Sponty barely getting out with a long range.
Big Graviton surge from Sponty there. Oko in there, right in their faces, trying to get some damage off with that Reinhardt hammer. Coming in with the Earth Shatter, doesn't manage to knock anybody over with it. Again, maybe just trying to get some area denial there, but wow.
Man, he is super overconfident. He is in the enemy spawn 1v3ing them right now. After whiffing a shatter, I don't know what's come over him. Oh!
I mean, it's working out. He's basically at full health still.
A 180 Earth Shatter block from Oko Bros after the charge, turning around, jumping, and blocking the shatter. I mean, what is happening right now? Oko Bros charging HRT.
HRT trying to get something going in that corner with the self-destruct, but Oko just sitting there with the shield saying, "Nuh-uh, not today."
Wow, that was an incredible final battle there from Kutztown. I mean, Oko Bros just flipped the switch, and just went completely off. I mean, that was absolutely crazy. Um, well, that's the end of the scrim tonight. We're gonna be getting into a highlight reel and a double interview with Colossus from Team Avalon and Sponty from Team Kutztown. We're going to be getting them in just a moment.
We're gonna have a lot of questions for these two. That was one crazy scrim.
Yep, just getting the players in here. Colossus and Sponty, welcome to the stream. That was a really fun scrim to watch. That last team fight was absolutely insane. And welcome you two. Welcome to the stream.
Hi, Connor.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So Colossus, you guys being, I mean, typically now loading is covering Kutztown Esports. And it's always great when we get you know, some words from the opposing team. I think tonight the biggest thing was adaptation. We saw a rocky start from you guys, and then you kind of turned it on. You kind of flipped the switch. Um, we saw you guys starting to take advantage of Kutztown's like positional mistakes. So, I mean, tell us, what was there a point where, um, you know, your coach or your in-game leaders, you know, started kind of whipping that idea into you guys? Like, where was the switch for you guys tonight?
So we had the idea of me running everything for tonight's scrim. At first, it was a bit shaky, which would, explain, us not really getting momentum and kind of giving up fights here and there. But once we, I guess, get more understanding, and I would talk you to, my team, to get a better idea what we should run. Then we started, cooperating better together, and also comms were louder.
Right, they do tend to as the night goes on, they'll tend to get a little crazier. Um,
Yeah.
Sponty, we saw you switch tonight over from that main tank role to that off tank role in the absence of PK factor. What is it like playing with Oko? Um, what is something he does really well, and what's the big thing that you want to work on with him?
I play with Oko very well in when we play ranked and all, but swapping from main tank is definitely a little more of a transition because everyone knows that Diva is that character that is the best supporting tank, and she has to do literally everything: eat ultimates, uh, soak up some damage for if Reinhardt gets a stun, all the things. And I don't know. I thought my diva was pretty alright tonight. There's definitely some things I can improve on. Definitely one of my lesser experienced tanks.
Yeah, we
We,
could definitely see that from the swap. You opted to go for the Zarya instead of the Diva for the off-tank role. But I imagine as you get some more practice, that'll end up going well.
Yeah, I opted for Zarya, and Big Rick gave me the approval because I don't know. We didn't really run much double bubble, and so normally I would be playing the Orisa, the Reinhardt, the Winston, all of the main tanks, Wrecking Ball. But I kind of wanted to get a little practice in on all the offs, which I don't really play as much today. So for the last map, I decided to throw in the original Overwatch Classic Reinhardt Zarya combination.
I mean, it's an absolute like King's Row masterpiece of composition to have that Ryan Zarya. It's classic. But if I can ask both Sponty and Colossus to watch our producer's stream in this Discord call, we're going to go over some highlights from tonight. And while we're going over these highlights, you know, I'd like to talk to both you guys about what we saw from the opposing teams. I think what we get a lot during, you know, your VoD review sessions with your teams is you get a lot about what happened with your team, but I think getting the perspective from the other team is really important. So, Colossus, playing against Kutztown tonight, what was like the chink in your armor? What was Kutztown doing really well against you guys? and then I'll pose the same question to Sponty.
Definitely they like their momentum and able to initiate as a whole together it was really, a great they really did that great. I think that's one of the things we can take away, like how, they move together and how, we can initiate stronger as well.
Right, that's something that as your team grows will definitely come with time. That team synergy, right? Just kind of knowing what to do when, even without calls, is something that will definitely grow with your team. Now, Sponty, same question to you. What was Avalon doing tonight that you guys just really couldn't stop?
I do have to give props to Avalon's double shield, especially on Volskaya. They gave us a hard time. Usually you think Winston with a Ana is almost a guaranteed fight with Nano engaged, but it was stopped almost every single time. I think they did chip off an extra minute and a half off us on Volskaya. The double shield for them is it's their composition, and they played it very well, sticking close together and disrupting our dives.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot of that disruption that you're talking about, especially on that second point there. There was just a lot of back and forth interaction between you guys there.
Yeah, we loved watching your guys' defensive Torb compositions. We saw Torb get a lot of play tonight on these like super hard to attack first point scenarios, right? Route 66, Volskaya, Colossus. Did you guys pick up that comp tonight, or is that something that you guys already had in your playbook?
It's actually something we already previously ran, and we always felt comfortable with Torb. We kind of, ignore the fact, people see him as, cheese and stuff like that, but he's actually pretty good and has a useful kit dealing, with dive and other sorts of comps.
Right. I mean, it's a horrifying defense to go against essentially 7 players with that Torb turret being the 7th, especially if you're playing a dive composition. We saw on your offense on Route 66 against Kutztown's version of that composition, we saw you guys try a dive for a little while, and then you guys made a very smart swap to those long-range projectile characters. You want to talk a little bit about that swap and why it's important?
So, as you know, we're, still learning about how to initiate, properly and also effectively strong. So that's where, long range heroes are a lot better and where we feel comfortable at.
Right. And as we're going through these highlights here, we saw Oko Bros on King's Row kind of come alive. Sponty, was that like a plan of yours to have him play hyper aggressive the whole map?
Yeah, I think Litlow, our Baptiste player, as well as Bonewheel, and I really wanted to enable Akko. He's more known as a aggressive Reinhardt player, as to me, where I'm a little more passive. And so we just wanted to get him as much value as he can, and as shown in some of these clips and from what you guys saw during the match, he got some pretty big shatters and some crazy pins that probably he should not have lived during.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a highlight of him going. He had a 3-man, 3 Earth Shatter, and a 3-man charge in the same interaction.
He went absolutely off. Was that a bit of a tempo change?
There it
playing
is.
against
As I'm talking about that
hyper-aggressive-
highlight, there it is right here.
Yeah, there. Oh, that's no, that actually was the
That's Colossus.
My
Yeah,
mistake,
Colossus.
that was Colossus.
I'm gonna give you props on that play, and you'll hear me say it in the VoD as well. That was a great, quick, split-second decision. You saw that the enemy Reinhardt was turned around, kind of dealing with the grav that Sponty had put down, and you made a decision just to shatter, and it caught a couple players. I think it was a great decision. What was going through your head right there?
So on that one, I know we initiated twice on the same pathing, going out in the open, so we wouldn't get walled off because we knew we had a May. But it was my decision to, change the pathing to immediately cut to the left through that little that room because I knew they're expecting the main way near the statue, and I was happy that I had Shatter and that boost took me all the way around to at least I think Shatter 3 or 4.
Yeah, you definitely got enough to clean up that fight, um, and win that first point there. It was a great rotate from you guys, and I think that that's something else you guys do really well is when you really want to with that Lucio, you guys do rotate very well. So, um, anyway, Colossus and Sponty, thanks for coming on and talking. Um, this has been another week of Collegiate Overwatch covered by Now Loading Esports. My name is Kanor, his name is Austin, and thanks for watching.